Okay, so maybe you have the habit of going off things very, very quickly, or feeling like you need to be incredibly passionate about something before you're able to do it. I know this was the case for me when I was in school. I used to always put off work saying, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it when I reach this, I'll do it when I reach this level, I do it when, you know, I reach these important set of exams. And then of course, I would still never actually revise or do any work. I managed to make it through just okay, but there was one year it actually caught up to me, and it was right at the end, and I was able to recover, thankfully, and actually do some work in order to get decent grades at the very end of sixth form, or I guess college to some people. And what I want to talk about today is really just this notion of doing work that you don't want to do versus feeling like you should only be doing work or only have to do work that you're passionate about. So, when it comes to work that you're not really passionate about, I think it's fairly cut and dry. You would rather have a life where you don't have to do that. You'd rather have a life where you're able to just do whatever you feel, whenever you feel. However, there's also work which you start off being really passionate about, but then you fall out of love very quickly with it, and the novelty wears off, and then you think, oh, okay, well, maybe this isn't for me, and then you sort of monkey branch onto something else. So I feel that the reason we have a lot of those mindsets and feelings going into that is because we typically buy into this sort of story of romanticism and following your heart and following your dreams. So if we don't have that feeling of excitement in us, we can sometimes interpret that as the work not being meant for us, something that we're just not supposed to be doing. Therefore, we can then just look towards the next thing. And that's not exclusively, that's not inherently a bad thing, but it's really just something to consider as we're talking about this. And what I would propose as the actual solution to this isn't something that is the most popular answer. However, it is something that I think is necessary to some degree, which is that your work does not need to be romantic or filled with passion. Your work simply needs to be tolerable. It just has to be tolerable enough for you to do and not want to kill yourself and not hate what you're doing, not hate everything that what you're doing stands for, not completely despise and resent the underlying reasons for you doing it. As long as it's something that you can, do for a specific, as long as it's something that you can do with a specific reason in mind, and something that ideally goes back to your core why, or a very deep reason that does resonate within you as to why you're doing it in the first place, and you can logically understand that. I don't think you need to actually feel passionate or excited about it every day, because that's never going to happen. Even if it's something that you absolutely love, you're going to have a phase where, the novelty wears off and it doesn't feel as exciting anymore. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you should stop doing it, or that it's not meant for you, because we're all going to have those days. The way how you realize if something's meant for you or not is a bit deeper than just that. You can evaluate how resonant you are with the underlying reasons behind you doing it in the first place, not just the surface level feeling of how excited or motivated you are to do it. And if you just think for a sec, in terms of work that you never feel any sort of passion about, but it's still work that I think you should do if it's tolerable enough and there's some level of reason to do it. Think about like garbage men or plumbers. Now, I'm sure there are isolated cases where you do have people in these fields who are incredibly passionate about what they're doing. However, you wouldn't necessarily think that for the majority. Now, does this mean that they shouldn't do what they're doing? Does this mean that all these services that we heavily rely on and are like super invaluable to our society, does this mean that they should stop doing what they're doing because they're not passionate about it? Of course not. Sometimes there's work that you're not going to feel 100% passionate about. It's okay, as long as you have some sort of reason for doing it and it's tolerable enough, it doesn't infringe on your boundaries or on your principles or standards, there isn't really anything wrong with that. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't have a passionless life at all. And this doesn't also mean that passion's a bad thing. You should ride the wave of that as much as you possibly can. When you do feel that wave of motivation or passion, make the most of it and just ride the wave of it, but don't rely on it. Use it when it's there because it just makes it easier. But when it's not there, don't use it as an excuse to stop doing what you're doing or to rationalize why this isn't for you and maybe you need to jump onto something new. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that we're human and we're meant to experience a wide range of human emotions, right? And you're not going to feel this one super passionate emotion all the time, every single day for anything. It's never going to happen. So really, that's all I want to leave you with today. If you have any thoughts about this, want to continue the conversation, just let me know. Feel free to like, feel free to comment, and let me know if there's anything that you think I may have missed, anything you think I may have gotten wrong about this, or anything you agree with. So I will be done. It's about time for me to leave. So I'll see you next time.